Welcome, everybody, to the DadBodd podcast, episode number 94. And no, we're not going to talk college football this time. We're going to be talking NFL football as it's back. Week 1 starts tomorrow, Thursday, with the LA Rams going up against the Buffalo Bills. Can't ask for a better game. I am Guns Picks, joined with my brother in arms. It's the gun. It's the lock. It's the gun in the lock, lockbets.net. What's going on, my friend?
What the heck's up, Guns? What's going on, America? Thanks for tuning in. I am so freaking pumped for tomorrow. College was like the teaser. I'm still stuck in Oklahoma somehow.
You're still tailgating.
Pun must have left me at the side of the road because I thought he was picking me up.
I did check for the Ubers. They weren't taking. There was no Ubers going into Boone Pickens Stadium for some reason. No, I think they all like quit for some reason. I don't know what happened. I tried to get the hookup from Pun. He won't answer my DMs anymore. He won't even answer my texts. I think he changed his number too. I don't know. I think he may be ignoring us completely, to be honest with you.
He's really changed. If you're watching out there, you've changed. Now I'm just messing. But seriously, phenomenal weekend of college football. I mean, it was great to have that back, but there's something nice about a Thursday night football game. Two of the most elusive offenses in the entire league. I mean, I've been loving Josh Allen as MVP for like the last 4 years. Is this year the year? I don't know. It starts tomorrow. All right.
We shall see. So we have a jam-packed show. I don't want to. I love the banter with you, my man. But we got packed. We're gonna go through basically in this show. So we're gonna go through every division. We're gonna give you a little bit of a breakdown, teams we see. The chat is open, so if you got stuff to say, you got questions or anything like that, we'll bring them in as we go. But we want to talk about every division. Not every team, but just teams that we like here and there. Give you a few plays as far as the win totals are concerned. Maybe we'll give you a few division winners. Maybe we'll give you a Super Bowl winner in the process. But that's kind of like the direction that we're going with this. So, and then we have a special guest coming in at 9 p.m. To talk a little bit of touchdown props. I could give you a little bit of clue who we're bringing in. It's a regular on the show. But, man, are you ready to get this started, Locke? Oh, we lost you. Are you muted? You're muted.
I'm ready. You're ready.
Let's go. All right. Let's start with the top of the AFC. And I'm not talking about the best of the division. I'm just saying when you look at your newspaper, that is the first division that you see. And I'm talking about the AFC East. Now, the AFC East is a little bit interesting in there because everybody, God and their uncle, thinks the Buffalo Bills are going to win the Super Bowl, including everybody in ESPN is backing the Bills. I don't know if that is a good sign or a bad sign for the Bills, but I just remember their initials do spell, boy, I love losing Super Bowls. What are your thoughts of the AFC East?
Gosh, well, there's a lot of change and a lot stayed the same, right? I mean, we're starting from the top. The Buffalo Bills, the Patriots, two teams I don't see really changing from what they ended up last year to this year. Mm-hmm. The Bills loaded up some more running backs. I thought they had 5 already. Right. Now they probably have 6 with the addition of their rookie running back. So they got Moss, they got Singletary, and then they got it's on the tip of my tongue, but they drafted them in 3rd, 4th round, I believe.
Yeah.
But Josh Allen is a well-oiled machine. So I think the Bills are the favorite for a reason. Do I think there's a ton of value betting them? Probably not, because I think this division is going to be kind of sneaky. I think it's going to be a sneaky division. Nobody's loving the Dolphins. Dolphins loaded up. Tyreek Hill instantly changes your offense. Brand new coach. They can sneak in a few wins versus the Bills. Patriots can sneak in a few wins versus the Bills. And then my New York Jets. Probably not going to sneak in a few wins, but I'll give them one unlikely win for the AFC East. So I'm staying away from taking the Bills too seriously as the division winner, but they're the favorite for a reason. So take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I think we're on the same boat on this one. The two teams that I didn't want to pick the Patriots because I felt like I'd have a little bit of bias on that one. I do think the Patriots are going to be above average to okay. That's kind of like where I'm sitting in my head because I don't know who their offensive coordinator is. The Buffalo Bills, it seems like God and everybody thinks they're already in the Super Bowl, and every person up and around Upper New York is already taking their making their plans, booking their hotels, knowing that they're going to be there. It's like it's the stupidest thing ever, especially when everybody on ESPN just basically says Buffalo Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. Why would you say that? It's like it's the Bills. So the Bills didn't really make any changes that I saw, except for like what you just mentioned about the running backs, just added some depth.
James Cook, they drafted him.
James Cook, that's it. Yep.
Very phenomenal player, but also they lost their offensive coordinator, right? Daboll's
yes,
gone.
they did.
Brian Daboll, he is done. I believe it is next guy in line there, but
right.
I'm with you though, Guns. I just think if ESPN's talking about him nonstop, I think we got a little bit of a problem. You got to step aside, step back.
Mm-hmm. There's a team actually I love in the AFC, and we'll get to that in a second because and really high on them. So you took the first 4 games. I think they're going to be without Tre'Davious White. He's coming back from an ACL injury, and that's kind of like I don't know when he's going to be coming back. So at least the first quarter of the season, or even it's going to be a little bit rough for them because without him in the lineup, that defense is very different. Granted, they did add some depth in there with Von Miller, which is a good thing because Von Miller just basically jumps on any Super Bowl contender and takes them to the promised land. So if there's any positive point for the Buffalo Bills is you have Von Miller on your team, so relax. But this is a team that I just don't know if they're going to carry me all the way to the or at least from a value standpoint, from a better. There's no reason to ever take the Bills in any direction to win a Super Bowl, to go to the AFC Championship, whatever. Is any future that you have for the Bills, the value's just gone. So relax on that. The team I want to talk about a little bit is Miami. So you have a big addition, big free agency pickup with Tyreek Hill. So it gives you a little bit of a 1-2 punch as far as receivers are concerned. And you have Jalen Waddle, you have Hill, but you have Tua Tagovailoa. I can't even say his name. Tua Tagovailoa. I can. You know what? I'm not going to try. It's Tua.
Tua T.
Yeah, it's Tua Tag. Tua Tag. We'll do Tua Tag. And then you get a new head coach, a guy that's never been a head coach before. He's basically just gone through the San Francisco circuit and gotten to that point where, past the offensive coordinator standpoint. And I really don't know if he's going to translate in that environment as a head coach, because he's very offensive minded. He's very smart, but he's always been under the tutelage of another offensive mind. So you get rid of Flores, and then Flores was basically running that defense, and that defense looked great. I don't know if that's going to happen this year because basically they hired within for the defensive coordinator perspective. They got Josh Boyer. Basically, I don't think he's been a defensive coordinator before, so that's a little bit dangerous on that point. So for my first pick, getting to my first pick here, I think it is smart because you have a new head coach, you have a new defensive coordinator. He's never been a defensive coordinator before. You have Tua with a bunch of weapons that he probably can't use. I like the under 9 wins in this spot, and you can get it at plus money. I got it at plus 112. And maybe I'm not on the right side of this one because the juice is on the other side. Usually with team totals, the juice is on one side or the other. Right. And that's usually the pick. But I don't really think Miami is going to be as good as people anticipate. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think they're going to have some pretty massive concerns running the ball. Their line is decent at best, maybe. Nothing to write home about. So they're going to have a hard time protecting Tua. And then who's running the ball? Who is running the football? Who's running football in Miami? Is it Sony Michel? Is it I couldn't even tell you who is the starting running back for the Dolphins.
No, I mean, if Sony Michel's there, I mean, he's not.
They
He's
just
not a
picked up
power runner.
Sony Michel. Raheem Mostert is there. A few castaways. Castaways starting Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, it's very hard to say.
The only thing I think they got going for them is Tyreek Hill, and should that be the reason that they're at over 9 wins and the Patriots are over 8.5 wins? So I'll take your under 9 wins for the Dolphins, and I will raise you over 8.5 wins for the Patriots. The AFC East, this could be a 2-10 win conference. Okay. Yeah. There's enough. The schedules would align where there could be two horses in this.
Our guest is that's going to be coming up here pretty soon. Basically, just gave us the answer. So it's Chase Edmonds and Mostert. Mostert, coming from the 49ers, is familiar with the OC. So I really like the ads there. But I mean, if you're running an offense that you're used to from, my brain's not working now with the.
What's that? I can help. Can I help?
Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel is going to want to. He's going to want to run the offense that he's used to with the 49ers. And really, I never really thought of the 49ers offense to be a real heavy rushing team anyway. So I think he's basically trying to mold it into what he's done previously with the 49ers. We'll see how it goes. Well, all right, yes. Go ahead. No. Go ahead. You want to keep moving? I mean, we can keep going.
Kyle Shanahan is the person that has that offense running, and just because they pulled Mike McDaniel from the press booth doesn't mean that it's all of a sudden going to change everything. But let's continue. That's neither here nor there.
You're absolutely right. He's running somebody else's offense. He basically took the template, brings it to Miami. We'll see how it goes. But let's look at the AFC North here, which is kind of interesting to a certain point because you have the AFC champion in the Cincinnati Bengals there. You have Baltimore basically at full strength. They added a lot of stuff, a lot of guys in the draft. And then you have Pittsburgh that did the same thing as well. I'm not leaving out Cleveland, obviously, but Cleveland is kind of in this rocky moment situation where I think they expected to be in a position like this. Probably not 10 games, but they figured 6. What are your thoughts on the AFC North?
I think there's a clear-cut favorite. Again, I think, you have to start with the Bengals. They're not going to skip a beat. I mean, once again, you have the top players right now at that age group. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow quite possibly are 1 and 1A for wide receiver 1 and QB 1 in the NFL as a young talent. With that being said, I think the Steelers are going to be a lot better than you think. I think the Ravens are going to be a lot worse than you think. And I think the Browns are going to suck. So I think there's probably one division that I am circling that I do think the closest thing to a lock is the Bengals not skipping a beat. Well-oiled machine. The one concern would be defense. Did they load up enough people in the offseason? But I love Joe B coming into this one. But I don't think people should hate on Mitch Trubisky / Kenny Pickett because all they need to do is hand the ball off to Najee Harris. All you have to do is throw a few screens to Deontay Johnson, and that's it because that defense is going to pick you up, all right? TJ Watt's going to pick you up 9 times out of 10. Your linebacker core is going to pick you up. So, and also my point on Baltimore is I think Lamar Jackson's contract will be a distraction. Mm-hmm. He already put a Friday deadline, and the season starts Sunday. I think it's going to be a distraction. I don't think I don't think they built up enough people in the offseason and brought over. They don't have a running back still. J.K. Dobbins is hobbling in practice drills, and they're showing Instagrams of him blocking. I mean, Mike Davis won't cut it. And so I almost think it's going to be like Bengals and Steelers, 1 and 2 right there. Browns, Ravens, they're just going to kind of be the garbage pickers. But what do you think, Guns? Enough of me talking. Let me start drinking. You talk.
You made some good points. Actually, some points that I was like, oh man, I just missed that. Like I was thinking J.K. Dobbins was going to have himself a damn season. And you just brought up a really good point. I mean, maybe he's not as healthy as people really think he is. I wasn't really focusing on Pittsburgh because of the kind of the turnover on the quarterback situation. Granted, they got Kenny Pickett. I love Kenny Pickett. I thought he was great at Pittsburgh, the University of Pittsburgh I'm talking about. But I just think there is a learning curve there. Now you have Mitch Trubisky. You made a great point with that one. It's like, this is probably the best offense that he's ever played around. I mean, he didn't really get any playing time with the Bills, and he had to play with the Chicago Bears that have never had an offense ever. Since Jay Cutler? Maybe. I'll give. That's a little bit of a stretch. Granted, they went to the NFC Championship with him.
It's a little stretch.
It's a little bit of a stretch. That is pretty big. That is the Stretch Armstrong of stretches. But you brought up Cincinnati, and I always bring up the thing about teams that lose their they'll lose the Super Bowl. It's the Super Bowl hangover. There's no one that feels it more than the runner-up. But this team is so young and so fresh. I just think they can really recover from that, because usually you see these Super Bowl teams coming in with just a slew of veterans and guys that have been in the league for probably 6 to 8 years. This is their shot. They don't get that shot. They have to go into the next year, and the motivation is pretty much gone. I don't think the motivation is gone from this team, because you have a young Jamar Chase, you have Joe Burrow, and you have T. Higgins playing on a contract year. T. Higgins could have one of the biggest years. And what I said about this, if you're into prop season totals, why wouldn't you take every T. Higgins over that you could probably take as far as receptions, reception yards, touchdowns, everything? Because when guys are playing for their contract lives and want to get that Tyreek Hill deal, that's when you have to step your game up a little bit. And probably he's poking Joe, go, hey, Joe, look at me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Granted, Chase is still going to get his game. I don't see this offense really dropping off that much, because they basically kept everybody intact. They still got Mixon. They actually, what they did to improve, which I like, and this was a problem with them last year, which was kind of remarkable that they made a Super Bowl. Their offensive line stunk. Their offensive line was absolutely terrible. Joe Burrow was in a hurry every time he made throws, and he still made the throws. That's how good Joe Burrow is. A lot of quarterbacks can't do what he can do. Imagine if Tom Brady had that offensive line, he would be out by week 3. But we're talking about Joe Cool. This guy won a national championship. He's gotten to the Super Bowl. He's got that little bit of a taste. This guy is going to win a championship before his career is over. Mark my words. They went and got Leo Collins, Karras, Alex Kappa. They basically revamped that line. So we're going to see if that offensive line is better, and if they're even improved, like from a ranking of, I think they were ranked 29th or 30th as far as an offensive line last year. If they even move up 10 spots, 15 spots, this offense is going to be absolutely, absolutely dangerous. So I do like Cincinnati, but I also like Baltimore too. So I think we disagree on that one. You also have Lamar Jackson. I don't think he's going to get a contract deal. I think he's basically going to say, you know what? I'm going to do the Joey Flacco. I'm going to wait, because this is going to be my year. But the problem is he doesn't have Hollywood Brown. He doesn't have any passing weapons. He's basically have to rely on his feet, and he's going to have to rely on the running back core that comes back healthier than last year. But he also brought up J.K. Dobbins limping around, making blocks. So we'll have to look at that injury as it goes.
He was supposed to come back. He was supposed to be a lock to come back week 1.
Yeah.
But now, like, they're releasing videos of him, like, in a simulation and like a simulator drill. Like, oh, he's almost back. They signed Kenyon Drake, a veteran, because they were scared. They were like, we have Mike Davis right now. We have Kenyon Drake. What the hell are we supposed to do? So take that with a grain of salt. But
29 in the chat. I want to say top dog in the chat. What's going on, my friend? All right. So, but I want to get back to this here for a second before we
Yes.
go into the next segment. And I think we're going to have our guest come in here in like 1 minute. So with Baltimore, they had a great draft. They had a phenomenal draft. I don't know how Baltimore gets these players, but they went and got Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I love this kid. He's one of the best corners that ever came out of Notre Dame, in my opinion. I've seen him play personally, live and not live. This kid is really good. Also, they went and got an offensive lineman in Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa. Iowa just produces linemen, big farm boys. And then outside linebacker from the college football playoff team, Michigan State Wolverines, David Odebayo. So this team got better. The wide receiver core is also as a question. But with Lamar Jackson, depth at the running back position too. I know JK is dealing with some stuff, but I think that's not going to be a problem because they have enough running backs in the quorum to kind of carry them along. So I really am a little bit higher on Baltimore than you are. I actually have a play in here, and I think they're going to win the AFC North. And I think it's plus money on that one. So everybody's going to be riding Cincy, but I kind of ride that trend factor of I think the Chiefs kind of wave that are an anomaly in themselves because they didn't really have the hangover from their loss against San Francisco. But I think Cincinnati may have a downfall. And I really think their defense got lucky in a lot of spots last year, and that's going to be the downfall of that team. I think they're going to get their offense is going to be fine. It's going to have to carry them along, but you're going to have a lot of back and forth, and you're going to see them lose close games that will carry over as a chip on their shoulder next season. So I'm looking more Cincinnati next season than I am this season. So that being said, that is the AFC North. I want to bring my guest in from the Action Network.
Perfect.
You might know him on Twitter from G Dog, as in DAWG 5000 on Twitter. And I'm going to make sure I get this name right. And I got to speak it like a Russian. Yeah. Gilles Gallant is with us to talk a little bit of touchdown props. What's going on, my friend? Welcome to the DadBodd podcast. Always drinking the finest whiskeys.
How we doing, gentlemen? I was going to say, I genuinely think I am contractually obligated to have a drink of Jameson every time I come on this show. So, cheers, boys.
Cheers. I got to cheers to that. I got a sponsor right here. Didn't read the ad read today. Make sure we get
a good drink, though.
Have you, Jill, have you tried the Jameson orange variety?
No, I haven't. Should I?
I don't know. I keep getting ads everywhere. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. They're attacking me in the States. I would assume it's not to you guys yet, but I wasn't sure. Maybe it was like north of the border first, then it comes down. But
I have no idea, man. Honestly, I'm pretty vanilla when I go into the liquor store here. I pretty much just come in. I just grab my Baileys. I grab my Jameson. They sell. They sell green products as well in the liquor stores as well. So it's a one-stop shop
in the liquor store.
Mm-hmm.
So we brought you on here because we want to talk touchdown props. Absolutely. That is your specialty. You go check him out on the Action Network, and he's already written a blog. I did retweet it for the people. You already got Thursday down. So what is your strategy early in the season as far as picking the appropriate guys for touchdown props?
Sure. I mean, the first one I would say is the FOMO is real, and we all miss it. It was over 200 days of not betting football or NFL specifically. Yep. And that's one of the first mistakes that a lot of people make when they come in, is that they just got that FOMO in and they want to bet every angle they can think of. And again, if you have the bankroll to just throw away, I don't, and I think most bettors don't as well. But if that's something that you want to do, again, fire away. I don't want to make betting not fun. I don't want to tell people you can't bet this, you can't do that. I more tell people about how I do it, because that's what's been most successful for me, right? So I follow just some simple rules, and the rules, you got to know the rules to break them, essentially. So one of the first rules that I have is, especially for me, because I'm betting touchdown props pretty much front to back, is I don't really bet a lot of guys below plus 200. Now, when we talk about Thursday night, I could tell you about a guy that I did bet below plus 200, but the problem is that generally like as the course of the season goes and the lines aren't as sharp for a primetime game. I will say that for this game, spread, total, props, everything is super sharp for this game. Just as far as like the projections, where the edges are, I feel like the books have got pretty good. And I think that's because they've had now, over a week of sample size of where the bets are coming from and who are they, the type of money that's rolling in. So the lines are pretty razor sharp to be able to find a true edge, I find. But there are some touchdown score bets that I'm going to let you guys know who I'm on for Thursday Night Football. But again, the below plus 200 is one of the top rules that I do. But another one that I would probably say I'm more passionate about than the plus 200 is I don't ever straight bet guys that have minus odds, especially for touchdown scorers. Like, there's just so much randomness and variable of like a guy getting hurt, or whatever else. I see it all the time where these guys will have these awesome 4-leg parlays, for a touchdown score parlay. 3 of them hit, and then they got the final guy who is the lock, a Kamara, an Ezekiel Elliott, or whatever, that is at like a minus 140. And then he just doesn't get in the end zone, or he like pulls up lame in the second quarter, and then you're just kind of screwed. And that to me, that's just really, I've had too much heartbreak from that happening, in my early years of doing that to just ever want to do that again. So I don't want to see people have to go through that. If you have the stomach and have the, the mental fortitude to withstand that kind of parlay loss, kudos to you. You're a stronger man than me. I would rather just straight bet my bets. Anything over plus 200 is usually my range, and nothing straight at minus odds.
So you hear to hear, it's important when you're doing touchdown props, or actually just any bet in general. It's better to do straight bets than try to parlay everything. So let's talk Thursday Night Football.
Sure.
We have the Rams versus the Bills. What are you seeing as far as the matchups are concerned, and what guys are the best to take actually at value? As
Sure.
you said, plus 200 and plus.
Yeah, Guns. This game has been really interesting too, because I had 3 picks and they all got steamed down pretty much as soon as I put them in. And it was kind of,
well, because you're sharp.
No, I mean, I don't move lines like that. Like, again, I think my influence and my expertise is, people enjoy it, but at the same time, I don't think I'm moving lines that way. That being said, the 3 guys that I bet, they were all at higher odds initially. I knew that was a good price, and then they've immediately gone down since. Part of it is, Dawson Knox is a guy that I really loved, and I still love. But I got him around plus 200, and he was around plus 210, plus 220 at FanDuel like earlier today. And then his contract news comes out, and everybody floods the market wanting to bet Dawson Knox. It's down to like plus 150, plus 160 at most books now. So again, I still like Dawson Knox to score. Don't love it as much at plus 160. It's usually the plus 200 range or more that I'm usually vying for. Again, another guy that got super steamed, has never even caught a touchdown in his career, Ben Skowronek, second-year wide receiver. Is going to be wide receiver 3 in this matchup because Van Jefferson, again, this morning gets announced out. The odds immediately fluctuate, and I'm sitting there with a plus 650 ticket, and now he's at maybe plus 350 at some point.
Do you know where Ben played?
I do, and only because he is an Action alum. I believe he played at Northwestern.
That's one of the schools, but where did he actually make his name?
I have no idea. I only know about the Northwestern part because of my
Notre Dame.
Oh, did he? Okay. I'm like, again, you remember, guys, I came on the show like I am super college football casual.
I remember Ben because he's got great hands. He's like a great receiver, elusive. Everybody would probably compare him to Julian Edelman or whatever, like every other white receiver. It's just stupid, but I really like that guy. But go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a good clarification because I would have walked around being like, that guy went to Northwestern, So,
yeah.
So really, what I would try to say though is with Ben, and I kind of have an odds cutoff like about like plus 400. I wouldn't take him much lower than that again because of the track record. Yes, he was playing more snaps when Odell went down and Van Jefferson was a little banged up in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl. I'm just a little worried. There's been times where he, like last year, I know you can improve and you can have more chances, but man, there's some times where Stafford laid it on a plate for him and just hands like a frying pan, just clapped out of his hands like that. And that's the tricky part of the guys just being reliable. Like if he's going to be throwing it to you, it's one thing if it's an uncatchable ball or you were defended well. when you are wide open and you drop a ball, that just leaves a stain on my heart forever. Like I'm thinking about betting them for touchdown scores. So again, this was an odds play. And even Ben, at the plus 650 odds, I still only played a half unit because I just didn't feel great about it. Plus another reason too is the less is more attitude that I kind of have, especially in the opening weeks, where if a game like this isn't really tickling my fancy, because honestly, like I wasn't really impressed with some of the value and the odds of the touchdown score odds that were coming out, because a lot of guys like the Rams, they're so predictable with how they spread the ball out that a guy like Cooper Kupp is at minus 150 or more. Allen Robinson, who I really like and is one of my touchdown bets, he's like plus 150 at some spots, but he's around plus 120 and wide receiver 2 in that offense. That's the reason why I'm on Allen Robinson for this game. So I got him at plus 155 at FanDuel. He's around plus 160 now, maybe there. But again, he might be down to like plus 120 at a lot of books. But part of the reason why I wanted to get Allen Robinson specifically for this game was because it's more trying to get ahead of the value. So with him, last year, wide receiver 2 in this offense, which was Robert Woods. I mean, you could say Robert Woods was wide receiver 1. It still fits for this analogy if it was Cooper Kupp. The point is that Robert Woods' odds when he was playing those 9 games last year range from minus 105 to about plus 115. So in that offense, the wide receiver 2 usually will have that kind of odds range. This time you're getting it around plus 155 for a wide receiver who's probably a wide receiver 1. At least he has been up until last year. He's playing with the best quarterback. I don't think it's a debate or an argument. His best quarterback that he's ever played with in the NFL. And playing in a wide receiver friendly offense. So if he scores this week, you're never going to see him at plus 150 odds again for the rest of the season. It's going to be plus 120, maybe less, kind of thing going forward. So I'm trying to just get ahead of the value. So those are my 3. So I got Allen Robinson, Dawson Knox, and then I got a half unit on Scal just for shits and gigs. I mean, now at this point, it's almost unbettable if he's down to like plus 250 at some books.
You made a good point there about Allen Robinson. It's like you have a lot of these wide receivers kind of changing teams. You have Tyreek Hill going to Miami. Marquise Brown is another one that I've kind of put some consideration to. If you ever take a touchdown prop and you have Kyler Murray, it's like you don't know what they've done during the offseason. And that guy was a huge threat with Baltimore. Granted, he has to compete with Rondale Moore and DeAndre Hopkins. There we go. Yep. Sorry, my brain fried again.
Well, not for the first 6 weeks because he'll be suspended. But AJ Green,
there you go.
So the corpse of AJ Green will still be on that field. So yeah, you're right. And Hollywood will immediately assume wide receiver 1 in that offense. Right. Wide receiver 1 has been pretty good, but again, usually it was DeAndre Hopkins. At least when Arizona's been successful. And you're getting around minus 110 to plus 110 in that range. Marquise, I think, is around like the plus 140, plus 150 range, which isn't bad. Again, they're playing the KC defense. Not exactly a stalwart from the secondary standpoint. They don't have Tyrann Mathieu there anymore as well. So there are a few guys that I'm kind of looking at for this week. Marquise is a guy that, unfortunately, I just probably won't play him just because he's below the plus 200 range. That's just my rule. Not necessarily somebody that, like, if you're just doing a one-off and you're like, you know what, I really like Marquise this game, fire away. But a guy like, I'll give you a long shot. I've been talking about this guy for a while. Tommy Tremble, the tight end with the Carolina Panthers. Right now, he is around plus 700, maybe even plus 800, depending on the sports book. Starting tight end for the Carolina Panthers, a tight end 1, you're getting him at plus 700. So right there, that's already a steal. Then the next part that I want to talk about with Tommy Tremble is specifically about Baker Mayfield. So Mayfield, when he plays, generally, and again, this is just track record of being a Cleveland Brown. This may change now after we get some more sample sizes with the Panthers, but loves throwing to the tight ends, man. Like 10 of 17 touchdowns last year were to the tight end position. 35%, yes, 34.9. I'll just round up to 35. 35% of all of his passing touchdowns have gone to the tight end position. Now you're giving me a tight end 1 at like plus 700 for a quarterback who loves to throw to the tight end position against the Cleveland Browns, who gave up 9 touchdowns to tight ends last year and had a few games last year where they just got abused by like guys like Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews. Again, I'm not going to put Tommy Tremble in that category of like those upper echelon tight ends. But at the same time, if you're going to give me a starting tight end against this Browns defense, which has been exposed a few times in recent memory by tight end position, I'm going to take it every time. So for me, a plus 700 to me, that's like probably my favorite value on the board.
Do you know where Tommy Tremble went to school?
I believe that was also Notre Dame, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
I
love Notre Dame.
Okay.
You
I just wanted to make sure.
It's
yeah.
confirmed. It's confirmed.
Okay, that's all, give me.
Is a Notre Dame fan. Thank you for joining the tribe. We accept you completely
Let
as
me get
a
this
Notre
straight.
Dame
So
fan.
Gil drops 4 plays, and 2 of them are Notre Dame players
I know.
in the DadBodd sphere with this lunatic.
I'm just pandering to the host. It's just what it comes down to.
I think that's what he did.
I'm just trying to get another
invite. What he did, because I'm going to tail those plays. I'm going to take the Notre Dame parlay touchdown prop and put Ben on there and Tommy Tremble. That's what I'm going to be doing. I don't know.
Can I get your question in, since I am the guy in the
Go ahead.
middle?
Go ahead. Yep.
Usually I don't like to be in the middle, but you know what? I'm not going to make a big fuss. This question is for you, Jill. How do you navigate having 5 possible, actually 6, if you include Josh Allen, 6 possible people scoring a touchdown first as a rusher? Or I guess, 6 probably, right? You got James Cook, Singletary, Moss. You got Henderson, Akers,
Stafford,
Allen.
not so much. Yeah.
Yeah, probably Allen. So are you scared of the rushing attack at all or no?
Not necessarily against these defensive lines. I think the way that, so let's say Buffalo does rush for a couple touchdowns in the first half. Immediately, then the Rams are going to have to respond. They're going to be able to run the ball. But when you get in that kind of position right now, you look at the total sitting there around like 52.5, I think right now, maybe 53, depending on, it's going to go up probably by kickoff because people are just going to love to bet the over in this spot. But with that to me indicates, okay, we're going to see some touchdowns and likely not a lot of running attack. You will see some rushing touchdowns. Like, let's just be real. Like both of these teams are very effective running the ball. For me, from a navigation standpoint, I think it's fair to say, I don't really if you were to actually allot all the bets and look at the positions that I bet on, I don't bet on running backs a lot. And again, it's probably just because it's a passing league, but at the same time, more often than not, running back ones have minus odds, at best plus 110. Running back 2, you might get like plus 250, plus 300, not bad value. But again, part of the issue with betting on a running back 2 is the opportunity is just too hard to predict. Like you basically, you're banking on the fact that the defense might be able to allow it. It's what you're almost banking on is basically like a running back 1 doing all the heavy work, all the heavy lifting, gets down to the goal line and then falls over, and then the backup runs it in. And again, at plus 250 odds, plus 300 odds, which is usually a running back 2 odds, that's not good enough odds for me for that one type of circumstance. Now, obviously a running back 2 could just break a run, or whatever. That to me, just again, from an implied probability standpoint of what those odds indicate compared to what could actually happen, they don't cross-reference the way that I like to bet them. So a lot of the time what I end up doing is probably, especially if they're a running team, I like to look at backup tight ends, because more often than not, if you're a running team, you're probably doing, 2 tight end sets, you're going to be doing pass fakes, whatever else. A lot of time tight ends can slip, especially in the red zone. Or a wide receiver 3. And then again, every once in a while, you'll be able to find a half decent price quarterback like Trevor Lawrence this week is another guy that I really like. He's around like plus 450, plus 500, depending on the sports book. I'm just not necessarily as scared of the Washington defense or at least defensive line as maybe some others are. And again, I also think Trevor Lawrence is the type of athlete where he could, lower his shoulder and get through to the other side, as opposed to trying to bank on, I don't know, Tom Brady or something like that. And again, not to knock Brady. I know the Boston heritage is real in here. But again, there's really only one circumstance that Brady scores, and that's from the goal line, like a half-yard line, and he literally just falls in. So those types of quarterbacks, again, there's a few, you have the Josh Allens, you have the, Jalen Hurts is a little shifty. I don't know if he would really lower his shoulder, but, there's those 3 or 4 quarterbacks that you could trust to kind of do that. But to go back to the original question about the running game and how I approach them, more often than not, especially in a game where you're expecting a total over 50, there's just not going to be a lot of running attack in that kind of game, at least, or less in comparison. So, I think from a management standpoint, I just, not to simplify the answer, but I just don't bet them. So that's probably the simplest way I can put it.
That's a good point.
Hey, the man knows his system. He stays to his system. Leave it at that.
I'm not saying that people can't bet running backs, or or if you're going to be looking at a starting running back, you can get sometimes some pretty decent value on a multi-touchdown prop against like last year. I remember my co-host Brendan Deeg, when we were doing Touchdown Town, like he was all in on David Montgomery to score 2 touchdowns on the Detroit Lions like earlier in the year, because the Lions were just getting gashed on the road, just from the run, like road, home, didn't matter. And he scored 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Like, it was just like, whoa, like, so, and he was getting that at like, plus 900 odds kind of thing. So when you're able to get a running back one at those kind of odds, then maybe you want to like look at maybe taking that kind of opportunity. But you want the guy who's going to be on the field the most if you're going to be taking a running back, whereas at least a wide receiver, he could be on the field for 10 snaps and still have a chance on one of those snaps to catch a deep ball or catch a ball on the back of the end zone.
You heard it here first. Is I got to take receivers when you're looking at touchdown props. The advice from Gilles. I want to give you a proper plug before you send out, because we have a full board of divisional talk to go on. So where can they find you, not only on Twitter, but also the company that you work for?
Sure. So we'll start with Twitter, though. You can follow me at GDawg5000. That's GDAWG 5000. And as Gunn said, mentioned, I do work for the Action Network. I have a weekly touchdown show that is going to be starting on Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern on the Action Network YouTube channel. I've got a weekly podcast that I do, the Action Network podcast, a recap pod and a look ahead pod. That'll be coming out early Monday mornings. I'm going to be doing write-ups, obviously, for every primetime game and touchdown props there. And we've got an Action Island show that we're going to be doing every Thursdays as well. So, again, we got a ton of stuff on the go. Very busy, but there's no way that I can complain. It's too good. It's too fun.
Beautiful. Thanks for joining us, dude. Much appreciated as always. Love to have you. And always, you're going to be back again during the football season. Thank you, Gilles. Now let's get back to the action. We're going to the AFC South. Woo! Let's do it. So the AFC South is kind of one of those divisions that has kind of become the new school AFC East.
Yes.
When you look at these teams now, it's really hard to talk about the Jaguars. It's really hard to talk about quite frankly, any of these teams in this division. So this one should be brief. Also, it's funny because I want to get off grid in here just to talk about this. So he mentioned Cooper Kupp every week, yards over. Listen, if there's something that the books are going to be very keen on, is everything that Cooper Kupp does, is you need to focus on outside the radar, maybe even like try to build what Jill just said. Try to get the Allen Robinson value as much as possible early on in the season while you can still get it before you lose it. Because if Stafford builds a rapport with him, that's kind of the overs that I like to look at there. But I digress. Let's go into the AFC South. What are your thoughts, lock bets?
So I'm sorry, you said AFC South or NFC South?
AFC.
Yeah, I think the Jaguars should put a better product out there. I mean, they're coming with Peterson. They got Lawrence. ATN is back in action, but I don't know what to expect from them. And I don't know. What are your honest to God thoughts about the AFC?
I mean, I think the only two teams to really talk about is like Tennessee and Indianapolis. And the reason why the reason why I say that is because I think one's going to go above the other as far as the who's reigning king of the AFC South. Because Tennessee has been that god because they've had A.J. Brown, they've had Tannehill, and they've had King Henry. And Derrick Henry. So there's going to be a little bit of change in that because A.J. Brown is gone. He went to the Philadelphia Eagles. They signed Robert Woods and Austin Hooper to kind of like fill in those voids. I just don't know if that's going to be enough. And also you got to realize with Tannehill, I think he's going to be like 35 or 36 this year. Yeah. He's getting long in the tooth, and he's kind of just a serviceable pocket passer that is kind of like used A.J. Brown as a crutch as what. And I think this team is kind of on a downhill. Is like the one thing that I highlighted in here is like if you're looking at season props, anything Tannehill unders, and I'm talking about passing yards. I think he was he barely got over the hump last year on the passing yards. So you can see a regression in him overall. And that defense can't hold a candle to what that offense was. So I kind of see a regression in Tennessee overall. I mean, they're going to have to basically say, Derrick Henry, you're going to have to run this ball a little bit more than what you're used to. And I'm not sure if his health will hold out in the season as he gets older as well. So I think I see a regression with Tennessee. Indianapolis, on the other hand, Matt Ryan is the new quarterback. Let's go get another new quarterback, Colts. Let's not draft a guy. Let's just go get a guy long in the tooth, a little bit hungry, a little bit poised, still got that arm. Matt Ryan is that guy. Carson Wentz couldn't do it, obviously. That team was a playoff team that Carson Wentz basically Wentzed himself.
Philip Rivers couldn't do it.
Philip Rivers did go to a playoff game and played very well against the Bills. But he didn't get over the hump. He basically Super Bowl or bust was that team, but it wasn't with Philip Rivers because Philip Rivers, he's an AFC
he ended his career without any playoff wins. Maybe one.
Who? Philip Rivers?
Yeah.
No, Philip Rivers got to an AFC championship when the Patriots got there. I think that was 2007. They got to the AFC championship. I think that's not the only time they've won a game, but so when you look at Matt Ryan's kind of been to the show. He's been to a Super Bowl. He was with a bad team, bad line. Now he has one of the best offensive lines backing him. He is older. He's 37. So you got to take that into account as well. Is there a resurgence with him with a new team? I'll tell you what he does have. He has a goddamn good defense. They lost one of their corners, but they picked up Stephon Gilmore from, I think, Carolina. Patriots, Carolina to Indianapolis. I think that was the path. So that should give him a boost on the defensive side. Plus, I think that core, the defensive line, the linebackers are incredible. I think this team really has some potential, but it's all going to be on the back of Matt Ryan. It's like, are you going to Carson Wentz yourself? Or are you going to be the Matt Ryan that we remember that got to a Super Bowl with the Atlanta Falcons? So I'm leaning the direction of they're going to win the South. Right now, I was like, there's no value in it. But if you're going to take a winner in the AFC South, it's going to be Indy. And it's minus 190. I was like, I mean, you'd have to double down on your bet on that one. And I also I like the over 10 wins at minus 125 as well.
My one concern is what happens if Jonathan Taylor regresses or gets hurt? And what if Matt Ryan is not the Matty Ice we know and love? And what if Frank Reich is out the door by week 10?
Well, that's where the season. That's one thing that I forgot to mention.
Die for him. He can't do another one of these shows.
That's what I forgot to mention. John Taylor's his running back.
Yeah,
I was like,
he's number one fantasy player for a reason. They got a great line, fantastic line. They wear those hats that say "Run the damn ball." I mean, they feed Jonathan Taylor. So I'm with you. You don't have to give it to Matt Ryan. In a lot of scenarios, Matt Ryan had to do so much. He doesn't have to do that much this year.
No, he doesn't.
Just hand the ball off.
Balanced offense. Let the defense do the work.
All right, what's next? Let's keep going.
Let's do a conference that is super uber competitive, like from team 1 to team 2, and team 4. Let's do the AFC West.
Ooh.
I don't have to say anything else. This is a competitive ass division. Everybody's loaded. This is really an interesting division. What are your thoughts of the AFC West?
Where do I start? I guess the books will start with Chiefs and work their way to the storylines. Storylines include brand new coach with the Raiders. Raiders have some pieces to really compete. The Chiefs defense let them down last year. Russell Wilson is a Denver Bronco. I think this will be the tightest by far And I think defense is going to win it. So whoever can stop Patty Mahomes week in, week out, whoever can stop Russell Wilson will win this division. I don't know. What are your thoughts here, Guns?
So I picked out two teams. I mean this division is loaded front to back, but the two teams I want to talk about are Denver and the LA Chargers. So Denver, kind of the teams that everybody bullied last year because their offense sucked. They get Russell Wilson to kind of like take away that bullying, so to speak. I think Jerry Jeudy is going to have one of his best years as a pro. So when you look at him from a season prop standpoint, I think it's better to just hammer overs as much as you can. We're talking receptions, we're talking touchdowns, we're talking receiving yards, all of the above. Any reception related thing with Jerry Jeudy, I think that's going to be the weapon that Russell Wilson is going to focus on. Now for the defense, it's going to be solid. They got Bradley Chubb. They picked up Randy Gregory in free agency, and they have Pat Surtain still on that defense. So the defense is going to be stout. You have Russell Wilson in there to kind of help with the offensive side. But it's going to be a tough division. They're going to have to deal with the Raiders, the LA Chargers, and the Chiefs in this one. So I think there's got to be somebody that's got to regress in this division. And I think it's going to be the Chiefs. And I think Denver is probably just going to like kind of be 50-50, even with Russell Wilson in that one. The team that I like in this one, though, is the Chargers. The Chargers, to me, are going to have a great year. They had so many close losses all the way across the board. And it was more predicated on their defense. Their defense was absolutely terrible. They ranked 26th overall last year. So they went to the free agent board. They went to the trades. They picked up J.C. Jackson from New England. Great corner, absolute lockdown corner. The future, I think he's going to have a great year with the Chargers. You have Sebastian Joseph Day from the LA Rams. Great addition to the defensive line. And also you have Khalil Mack from the Chicago Bears. That is the one big problem as far as that defense is concerned was the run. They couldn't stop the run if they tried. Khalil Mack can stop the run. He can get those tackles for losses. He can pressure the quarterback. He can make the reads. I know he's a little bit long in the tooth now. He's a little bit older, but he's a little bit wiser. I think he's going to be a great addition to that team. Much needed veteran. I like this defense a lot more. And then you have the Chargers offense. Justin Herbert, the wide receiver corps. There's so many weapons on that offense. Great offensive line. I think this team is poised, ready from a roster standpoint to make a push to maybe be that team to beat the Buffalo Bills. This is my best option to beat the Buffalo Bills this season. I love the Chargers. I have the Chargers winning the division plus 180. That is probably my lock of the decade. I love this team so much. I think the changes. I mean, you can look at the Kansas City Chiefs all you want. I know Pat Mahomes is there, and it doesn't matter who the wide receiver is, but Tyreek Hill was a crutch. That guy moved so fast. He was so elusive, and it was a weapon that he's going to be missing this year. I don't care if Travis Kelce's still there. I don't care if Hilaire's still there. I think this Charger team has kind of gotten over this hump. And by the way, they always match up well with the Chiefs anyways, so they can get those 2 wins. I like this Charger team. I like that. I don't want to take the total wins over because I think it's at 10.5. I just don't like anything above 10. But give me the Chargers all day long. I love this team.
Not so fast.
Not so
fast. You are forgetting about the black and gray, the Raiders. They have been lacking discipline, coaching, They've been lacking everything under the sun. A city that would call them home. They finally are in a soft place in Las Vegas. They're comfortable there. Derek Carr, it's literally make it or break it season. Josh McDaniels has the microscope for him, but it's Derek Carr. It's Darren Waller, all-pro tight end. It's Hunter Renfrow, a perennial all-pro wide receiver this year, or I believe it was last year he was all-pro. I don't think anybody stops this team. Josh Jacobs, two-headed monsters, Amir White. The offense should have an elusive year under Josh McDaniels. The Chiefs will not be able to stop them. The Broncos may not be able to stop them. I agree with you. The Chargers are the team to beat, but Raiders plus 650 in a very tight conference. I like it. I'm sprinkling. Okay.
You say plus 600 to win the division?
Plus 650.
Here's what you do. And I'm gonna give a little bit of a tip to the people out there as I switch screens. Let me tell you what you do in these situations. You have 4 teams, pretty much in every division, correct? So we'll talk about this when we get to the NFC real quick. But if you have a outright dog like you just picked with the Raiders, and you have the Chargers at plus money, why wouldn't you put them together? Same unit bet, and you just fade 2 teams. So you basically made the division a coin flip.
Bingo.
That's what you do. So you take both in this situation. I don't hate the Raiders, and I love the Chargers. Put them together.
Yeah.
1 bet, 2 bets, and at the end, one of these teams win the division right as rain. So you're fading the Chiefs, right?
Broncos.
And the Broncos. Simple.
Bingo.
Simple.
That's
Simple.
it.
You got the answer. NFC time. The least. The NFC least, they used to call it. I think they may still call it that. Very tough to talk about. You have the Commanders, you have the Giants, you have the Eagles, you have the Cowboys. What are your thoughts of the NFC East?
What do I think about the NFC East? I think that I want to say that the Commanders' defense should stop most of these teams. But I'm not taking the Cowgirls. I'm taking the Cowgirls every fucking year.
We're in the same boat. Yep.
I'm not taking them. So don't try to tell me to take them. Dak Prescott has used every excuse in the book. Everything. Oh, I didn't have my lineman. I didn't have my wide receiver. It's never your fault. It's always your fault, Dak. Okay? It's your fault. Okay? And I do not want to hear another futures bet with the Cowboys. With that being said, I think the Commanders are a dark horse in the division. I don't like the Giants, and I certainly don't trust the Eagles as much as some people. So I just bashed every team, and I think the only team I didn't bash was the Commanders. Take that with a grain of salt. I think Guns has something better for you, though. I'm gonna go grab a beer while Guns goes.
Yeah. Okay. So looking at this spot here for the NFC. So I think it's a 2-horse race, and I think that the race has already been leaning towards the other horse. And let me tell you why. Start with Dallas. A lot of questions on the Dallas side. Big loss, losing Tyron Smith, the left tackle for the Dallas Cowboys. That is a big blindside protection for Dax. Dax doesn't have his blindside protection through the season, especially a guy at the caliber of Tyron Smith. That it hurts big time. And it also shows in the value of who's going to win the division as well. They also lose Amari Cooper, which is a big crutch for Dax. That 1-2 punch with him and CeeDee Lamb. So now you got CeeDee Lamb carrying the load, and I guess they assume that Michael Gallup is going to be the 2 receiver with this team. Is he going to be the good 2 receiver that I guess is expected of him, that Amari Cooper left behind. And also, you got to look at the running back position. The running back position, while they do have depth, who's the number one guy in that team anymore? Is it Zeke Elliott? Because you think it's Zeke Elliott. He's been the number one guy for years now. But you saw the emergence of Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard had a tremendous year last year as the number 2, and actually played better than Zeke in a lot of games last year. So I think it's going to be a running back by committee style. I think Zeke's going to lose a lot of carries because you want to take advantage of the presence of Tony Pollard, especially if he's playing well. So there's a lot of question marks with this team. And I'm talking about the Dallas Cowboys. So I saw that the team total, the win total for the Dallas Cowboys is 10. I'm not so sure that they're going to be winning 10 games this year, especially with losing your blindside tackle. You have question marks in the wide receiver core. The defense should be fine. I think having Micah Parsons on that team, I think he's going to have a really good year under that defense, and he's just dramatically improved as the year went on last year. Questions at the running back position and who's going to be taking over that role. I think it's going to be a Dallas regression, in my opinion, especially after their brutal loss in the playoffs versus the San Francisco 49ers. Give me the under 10 wins as one of my plays for this podcast. Let me tell you who's going to win this division. And I know I'm probably falling into the Philadelphia trap. And I know they're going to be throwing ice balls by Christmas, and this team's going to stink because all the injuries are going to go off. But from on paper and by roster, I think this is the best team in the division. They go and get A.J. Brown from Tennessee. Now Hurts has no excuses. You've got the weapons. You can pass the ball. You can run the ball. Are you going to be the quarterback of the future of the Philadelphia Eagles, or they're going to have to go and get a free agent next year or go to the draft? That's going to be the question. Offensive and defensive lines are great this year. They look great across the board. The fill-in roles are perfect. The defensive line was great last year. And also, I think this is probably across the board. They're accompanied with an easy-ass schedule, ranked 30th in the league as far as easiest schedule. But every single NFC East team is ranked 28 through 31 or whatever it is as the easiest schedules, because the NFC East is the most useless division in football. Well-rounded team and set up to make a run. I'm high on this team as far as the NFC East is concerned. So I'm actually going to put in a play here. Philly over wins 9.5. You're basically just saying who's going to have more wins. I think Philly will over Dallas, and then you have Philly to win the division at plus 100. So it's even money to have them win the division if you go check your books right now. And I think that is the pick of this division. You ready to talk some NFC North? Ready to talk some Packers? Ready to talk some Vikings, Mr. Lockbets?
I'm ready to talk about the Packers. When is Aaron Rodgers going to win that next Super Bowl? Is he going to win another Super Bowl? I would say no. I would say no this year. They lose a huge part of their offense in Devontae Adams. And once again, the Packers did no justice for their boy Aaron. They did not regroup. They did not get these veterans like Allen Robinson that was available. They didn't go for any free agents, really. What product are we giving America with the Packers? And it's an aging quarterback and a two-headed monster running back scheme. I think the team to beat in this division is the Vikings. And I'll tell you why. Justin Jefferson is going to have a Cooper Kupp-esque year. Okay? If he hasn't already. Last year, it was 1A, 1B. Justin Jefferson is there. He is there. Dalvin Cook is back, full oiled machine, ready to fucking go. The new coaches in town in Minnesota know that if you want to win a football game, you throw less with Kirk Cousins and you run more with Dalvin Cook. Get the ball to the outside, out of Kirk Cousins' hands. The more he holds on to it, the more likely you are to lose. And the old coaching staff did not know that. The tape doesn't lie. Give it to Dalvin Cook. Get that defense is better. And I like the Vikings every single prop bet that you can handle.
I think you basically just plagiarized my notes, so I don't think I'm going to add much to this this side of the division. But let's talk Green Bay Packers. You just hit it on the head. Devontae Adams missing from that team, went to the Las Vegas Raiders. You forget to realize how often Rodgers used him as a crutch. And I'm not just talking about hit him downfield like you would every receiver. He was a red zone threat. If he had it at the 5 or the 3 or the 2, they would rather have Rodgers roll out and go find Devontae Adams to go catch the ball. He's a big, giant receiver. He was bigger than any corner that could guard him, any safety that could guard him, and he was faster than any linebacker could guard him. Now they have to go back to a little bit more balanced offense. They have to go to A.J. Dillon. They're going to have to go to Aaron Jones. Those are going to be key changes in the offense. I think they're going to have to basically take the ball out of the hands of Rodgers, at least in the red zone, and going to have to use a power back like A.J. Dillon to score touchdowns, which, by the way, check out A.J. Dillon's season total touchdowns, because I think that's going to go up dramatically. I think that's probably a good season prop as I'm talking this out in my head. So going to the Minnesota Vikings, you made a good point, and I said, and basically I have this highlighted, bolded, underlined. The success of the Minnesota Vikings is completely predicated on a 100% healthy Dalvin Cook. Without Dalvin Cook, I question the success of the Minnesota Vikings. They need him every single which way. Cousins is a coin flip every single week. If you put it in the hands or you make him the guy that you have to rely on game after game after game, you will find yourself failing at the end. Dalvin Cook has to be healthy. You have the offensive weapons. You have a great offensive line. You have Adam Thielen. You have Justin Jefferson. You have an offense that is perfectly built to be the best, arguably the best offense in the NFC, maybe even the NFL, as long as everybody stays healthy. But we'll see how that goes. But I'm with you on Minnesota. The best value to take in this division is to take Minnesota win total overs. Take them to win the division. I saw them at plus 240 right now. Great value. You think it's higher? I mean, if you found it another book higher, I think this team is a 3. I can't imagine this team not being successful in that division. I think there's too much of a bias on Aaron Rodgers staying with the Packers. I know he's a winner. I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to get over the hump here and win this division. So I love Minnesota.
Also, may I add,
and I love the dome you're in right now.
May I add the division total wins? Can you hear me, Guns?
Yes. Yeah, I'm with you.
Division total wins 3.5.
Wow.
Plus 135.
Wow.
Book it.
That. Oh my God, that is a book right there.
Plus 135.
Make sure you write that down write that down on your sheet for the recap for Punk.
Can you imagine?
We're gonna put that on the graphic.
Over 3.5 division wins, plus 260 to win the division.
Okay, so you have a better number than I do. I had plus 240.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you. I was like, oh no, I see something better.
All right, so you have plus 260. Of course, I don't get the same books that you do because I live in Maryland and they don't want the apps to work by football season. Those bastards.
Yes. Oh, I like it. Hey, listen, when we align, when guns and locks align,
It's like
it's all good in the hood.
I'm gonna
All good in
see
the
if
hood.
I can get the fist over on. Wait, I gotta go this way, right? There we go. The other way. The other way. We gotta go the other way. There we go. All right, we hit the fist. That is an alignment. Minnesota Vikings to win the division in the NFC North.
Yep.
Last but not least, before we end the podcast, we actually made good time on this one. Way better than we did with the college. I think it was just we're not talking about every team, but in the NFC West, I have a strategy for you on this one. But I want to pass it to you. What are your thoughts of the NFC West?
I think the NFC West, there is a new sheriff in town. And he has spent a lot of time in Florida. A lot of time. And his name is not Tom Brady. Not the Buccaneers.
You know what? Let's stop there. I forgot a division. I'm sorry. I want to do the NFC South first.
Oh, that's what I thought we were doing.
Yes, yes. No, you were on the right page. Let's do NFC South. I said NFC West. My fault. Let's go NFC South.
The NFC South has a new sheriff in town, and his name is the well-oiled machine, Jameis Winston, and the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints, I love every prop bet on Jameis Winston. In the dome, he's now year 3 in this scheme. Lot to prove still. Lot to prove. But he's got the talent. He's got Jarvis Landry, who's a brand new free agent. They gave him on a silver platter. Jarvis Landry has not had a quarterback like this since when? I mean, Baker Mayfield was throwing ducks to him. Jarvis Landry, Michael Thomas is going to be healthy. Alvin Kamara, all reports that I'm seeing is he's playing this year, then he's going to get suspended. And the defense is damn good. And they play in the dome. Tom Brady doesn't know what's going to hit him as a 45-year-old. I love the Saints in this division. Plus 310 to win. I don't even want to tell you what I did with Jameis Winston. I peppered a few prop bets for him that if you want to know what they are, just DM me. But I love the Saints. How are we feeling, Gunsy?
I think the team to take as far as values concerned is the Saints. I think if you look at, I think people are really against Jameis Winston on all facts, but I haven't really seen him play with the Saints. Like I'm talking, when I say I haven't seen him play with the Saints, I haven't seen him play for like a full season. I want to see a full season of Jameis because I saw him with Tampa. And I know what he can do offensively. Granted, he did throw a lot of picks. He took a lot of risks, but he had LASIK surgery. He says, I can see now. I want to see what the LASIK does. Does that change his game a little bit? He can't, he had an injury last year, ACL, MCL, or whatever it was. They had to make some changes there, but he's very loaded with some young talent. And you forgot to mention who they drafted as number 1 in the first round. And I'm talking about Ohio State's Chris Olave is going to be his receiver as well. You mentioned Jarvis Landry. I know Michael Thomas is not going to be playing for a while.
No, he's going to be back sooner than you think.
Well, I think that's kind of like in this weird realm of like, is he playing? But it doesn't matter because I think Jarvis Landry is great. I think Chris Olave is great. The offensive line should be intact. The defense had a little bit of a drop off. They got rid of one of their heartbeats of the team. I can't think of his name right now. One of the corners or safeties or something like that. So he's
it
gone.
Lattimore, Marshawn Lattimore?
No, it wasn't Lattimore. It was a 2-name guy. I can't think of it now. I mean, my brain is in college football and NFL. I can't remember everything. But Winston, I just need to see a sample size. But I think from a value standpoint, you're not going to take Tampa. I think there's a lot of animosity in that Tampa locker room between the coach and Tom Brady. Tom Brady a little bit older. He's not staying around for preseason. He's taking leaves of absences. Yeah. I think the rumor I've heard is there's some stuff going on with him and Giselle. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I read People Magazine just as you do when I'm shitting. So I got the periodical.
It's not even People's Magazine. I mean, listen, you just go through your Twitter feed. Someone will retweet something from what is it, Us Magazine or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's a Kardashian article and it's Tom Brady. So I don't.
Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, so I think you have. I mean, you have Sean Payton's absence looms large with that team. Drew Brees, same thing. But I think the turnover is going to be something that you want to jump on early before you jump on it late. And I think if you're going to jump on some value, that's the team to pick. I don't think Carolina is going to make any like drastic moves. I know Sam Darnold's not the quarterback anymore. It's going to be Baker Mayfield. And Atlanta is completely in a rebuild motion in itself. So if there's anything that you should take in there is that I would say win total over on the Saints, and then just take a flyer on them to win the division because, hey, I don't know where Tampa is at right now. They're coming off a playoff loss. I don't think Tom Brady really, and I hate to say it because he's a godsend to me as a Patriots fan. But I think he's getting a little bit long in the tooth, and for him to return, I think that's really been a detriment to the success of any team at this point. He should have retired when he won the Super Bowl with Tampa. Was it 2 years ago at this point? Yeah, I'm with you. Let's go Saints. And when I say go, you got to spell it Geaux.
Yes,
Saints,
yes,
right?
Yes. And admittedly so, I'm all over Jameis Winston maturity. I think he's a different guy. Went 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in the limited work he did for 7 games last year.
Don't forget, people forget that with Jameis.
14-3. Okay.
Yes.
He was a hot commodity, and he did not have the talent he has this year. So I'll tell you what I did.
Yes.
I'll tell you what I did take. And it's naughty. It's a naughty bet. But it was way back when. I'm scrolling. Jameis Winston to lead the league in passing. Passing yards in the dome. Chris Olave, to Michael Thomas, to Jarvis Landry, to Taysom Hill.
Kamara. Don't forget Kamara.
And Kamara. And I took it back in June. I took it May 12th. May 12th.
Okay. I want to hear what this one is. I'm excited.
And I put $80 on it. It was at 9:40 p.m. on a Friday, I believe.
So there's bevies. There was bevies.
I must have had, 25 beers. I put $80 on it to win $4,080. That line has since plummeted to 25 to 1.
That's perfect.
So you want to talk about the value? I love Jameis Winston. He's a good friend of mine. I'm all in. Yep. And my one prop bet that I'm cooking, alternate total wins, because DraftKings will give that to you. Plus 155, over 9.5. This division is soft as a baby's bottom.
It's very swish. It's a lot of questions. A lot of questions.
And if Tom Brady, if there's any inkling of drama down there, and if they beat Tom Brady twice, and they beat Baker Mayfield twice, and they beat the Houston Texans, all those guys, we're going to be looking at a good win total for them.
Hey, you know what? I think we're seeing this division clear as Winston's seeing life clear now, correct?
Yes. Exactly.
Make sure you write you made some great picks. Yeah. Just write them down because we want to put this on the the graphic when we
Yes.
send out the picks tomorrow. I'm backing him. I'm not going to make him my plays, but I approve.
Yes.
This is guns approved. I am very hyped on the Saints more than I was 5 minutes ago. So I'm sold.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go with NFC West, which is another exciting division in itself. You have the Rams, you have the Cardinals, you have the 49ers, and you have the Seahawks. What do you think of the NFC West?
Oh, the NFC West. NFC West. I think it starts with the Rams. I think the Cardinals are on the tip of the cusp. I think they've been pushing. I am actually selling the 49ers. I think their offseason was a little bit trashier and sluttier than most.
Yep.
I think this could be a repeat for the Rams, but I have a sweet spot in my heart for the Cardinals if they could just get their defense up a bit and protect a quarterback more. Protect a quarterback and get a better defense, I'm all in. But this is a Rams division through and through. I don't see them slowing down. I love their backfield. I think they have two of the most elusive runners in the NFC, with Cam Akers coming back and he's healthy, and you still have D'Angelo Henderson. Like Gio was saying, Allen Robinson has never had a quarterback like this.
Never. He's played for the Jags and the Bears.
Dude, does everybody remember what Matt Stafford did with the last obnoxiously tall, large wide receiver he had? Went to the Hall of Fame.
Megatron.
Calvin Johnson. Allen Robinson could get that Megatron attitude.
He has that build too. Maybe not as strong, but tall. Yeah, I can see that.
He's got that deep threat. Also, just larger than life, build. I mean, he's 6'4", 6'5", easily, right? 6'3".
He's a lanky.
He's a big man.
So when you got a corner guard him,
who are you cooking on in the NFC West?
So I think the teams to talk about in this one, and this is strategic, and we've already kind of like talked about our strategy a little bit when we talked about the AFC. So you got the Rams. They lost Von Miller. That's a tough one. But they still have Aaron Donald. They still have Leonard Floyd. And they added Bobby Wagner from the Seattle Seahawks, which I love. I'm a big fan of Bobby Wagner. I think he's a leader, and I think he's a heartbeat to a team. And that, God damn it, that guy wants to win another Super Bowl, so he went to the Rams. And I kind of praise him for just, leaving a team that his heart was in Seattle. He went to LA, and he's like, I'm at the end of my career. I need to make a push. Big boost in the linebacker core. I think a little bit of a downgrade on the pass rush. But I don't know how that affects the total defense. I think I'd rather have, if you ask me if I'd rather have Von Miller or Bobby Wagner, I would probably rip my hair out and shoot myself in the face because I don't know who the best player is out of those two. You mentioned Allen Robinson, and I think getting rid of Robert Woods and getting Allen Robinson just kind of changes the dynamic of that team because they had too many speedy, elusive guys that just could catch the ball, great hands guys, but you never had that tall receiver that could go catch that lob pass on a one-on-one. You have Allen Robinson now, and this is your shot, Allen Robinson. You have your quarterback, you have the team. You don't have the pressure of being the number one wide receiver anymore. So you're going to have a lot of one-on-ones with a corner or a safety or line, whatever it's going to be. This is your shot. And I think he's gonna execute that because I believe in Allen Robinson. I think he's a great wide receiver. Even when he was playing for bad teams, he was the guy. And seeing him at number 2 is absolutely dangerous for anybody that has to face the Rams. Questions on that I keep hearing loom on reports about the injury status of Matt Stafford. I wonder if it's something with his arm or something with his shoulder, or like he's having some difficulty.
I think they're giving them. I think they're giving him the future Hall of Fame treatment. I mean,
I think it's all bullshit, is what I think it is. It's like
the smoke screen. They're just saying that.
Granted, I'm getting this information from ESPN that is off the Rams bandwagon, has jumped on the Bills bandwagon because I love Chris Berman. And I can't wait to get in my Thursday pick, by the way. And so do I think the Rams are going to be as good as they were last year? I think it's level to down. I think the competition on the NFC West side, there's just hungrier dogs in that fight. And I'm talking about the 49ers, and I'm talking about the team I'm going to talk about next is the Arizona Cardinals. Added Hollywood Brown. So this offense under Cliff Kingsbury, Cliff Kingsbury wants to pass. He wants to build an offense that predicates the offense that he wants to run. He has the quarterback. He had enough weapons, but he was missing parts and pieces. So when he gets DeAndre Hopkins back, he's still got Rondale Moore. And then he adds Hollywood Brown to the mix. So that gives him that deep threat that they're looking for, that speedy guy that can get down the field on a play action.
Wasn't Hollywood Brown a mess with the Ravens?
He was still a weapon.
He never got up to where he's supposed to be.
So let's look at two quarterbacks as a thrower. Who would you rather have if I was a receiver that could just run really fast and get down the field? Okay. Who would I rather have the ball thrown to me that would get me the ball? Would it be Hollywood Brown? I'm sorry, would it be Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson?
Kyler Murray.
There you go. And I say that because he has a little bit more touch. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson can't get the ball down the field. I just question his accuracy.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have Kyler, and people forget this about the end of the season on Kyler Murray, and everyone really shit on him at the end of the year, which is kind of stupid. Do you realize he was playing on a bad ankle for the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season? So put yourself in his position. Yeah. When you're trying to do a 3-step drop, plant your foot on a bad ankle and making throws. You can't. It's tough. And you're asking a guy to do that in a playoff game when everybody's ravaging to take you out, knows about your injury, and is going probably low on you. I think you got Kyler Murray healthy, and I think this offense has gotten better, in my opinion. Granted, they need Hopkins back, but I think what you're going to see is a Cliff Kingsbury playing his. If he doesn't improve this season, I think he's out. In my opinion, I think he's a rat back against the wall. He needs to have a season, and that's called getting past the first round of the playoffs. That's getting further into the playoffs, and I think this may be the year that he can do it. Defense really didn't have a backstep. That defense was really good last year. They did lose Chandler Jones, so that kind of hurts them a little bit. But I think with the draft and everything like that, they just got younger and they got a little bit fresher on that end. And Chandler Jones was getting a little bit long in the tooth, so they had to get rid of him. It's win or bust for Cliff Kingsbury. And for the value that you get from them winning the division, and you combine that with the Rams, and you say, fuck the 49ers, you can get the Rams at plus 123. And you may have a better line than I do on FanDuel. Combine that, put one unit there and put one unit on the Arizona Cardinals plus 415 to win the division. And you got yourself some profit, because I think one or the other is going to win the division.
I love that. I love that tip as well. Guns, we do not want to put all of our eggs in one basket.
No.
We don't want to put all of our beers on one bar.
No.
You gotta diversify, brother.
Diversify your bonds.
Yes. So I love that. I I'm all in. I also agree. How many times did we watch Kyler Murray step back 3rd and 4? Poor guy's got a bum ankle, and it's like engage 8. Everybody's fucking coming for him. And that's how the game ended a lot of times because the line could not protect him, and he's pouncing around as best he could. But I'm with you. I think Cliff Kingsbury, if he cannot turn around this ship with one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, I keep saying that term, best quarterback in the NFL, but he's up there. Kyler Murray is up there. You know, if you're drafting a fantasy roster and you're a coach and you need to pick up a few quarterbacks, I think he's top 3, you know, based on age, experience, speed.
Yeah.
Easily.
But again, it's a health factor. You have to keep yourself healthy and hopefully from a coaching standpoint, I'd want to have a QB coach to be like, hey, we don't need you to go and get that extra yard. We don't need you to go. And it's like, we need you to protect yourself because we need you. You're the guy that's going to carry us to the and I hope with time, and now he's a veteran. I think he might be in his 3rd season this season. I'm pretty sure
this could be 4,
maybe 3rd or 4th or whatever it is.
Could be 4.
This guy is a baller, and people want to write him off of what happened in the playoffs. I'm like, he's playing. His ankle sucked. So
did they pick up any linemen?
I have to go back and look. I was trying to figure out if they actually improved the line. I have to suspect that they did it on the draft, and I'm unaware of what they did for the changes. But I'm sure with Cliff Kingsbury, his focus is offense. It's his defense is kind of like, you know, we're good. They got Webb. I mean, shit, their secondary is one of the best in the NFL. I mean, with who's that guy who got clipped by a Seattle wide receiver? God, my brain doesn't work that way. You know what I'm talking about? I'll figure it out later. But I mean, they still got him. He played for LSU. He went to I think he played for
Patrick
LSU.
Peterson?
No, Peterson's with a different team.
He's long guy. He retired? Patrick Peterson could be retired.
I don't even know what team he plays for anymore. If he does, it may be nobody.
Not Tyrann Mathieu. No, he plays.
No, he's with KC.
All right.
Yeah.
No more LSU. I don't care. Doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter. Whatever. I'll probably think of it once we go off air. But still, I think the defense is going to be fine. And I really think that like people are valuing the 49ers. I don't trust Trey Lance. And I think it's best to just pick the LA Rams and the Cardinals and just ride it. If there's any 2 bets that you make as a future division winner, those are the 2. I don't really have a Super Bowl winner because I don't do that. That's not my game. And I don't pick I think if you pick a team in the AFC for value, pick the the LA Chargers. And other than that, the NFC, I don't really care.
We got to get a prediction, though.
All right, okay. Do you want to go first or I'll go first? Because I'll just do it.
I'll go first. I will go first.
I'll do gun to the head.
I have the Vikings. No, I don't.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out myself.
I
see. This is what I was like. I'm a week to week guy. We're 2 week to week guys. We're not future.
You know what?
Guys.
We're gonna leave you on a cliffhanger because you know what? It's impossible right now. I mean,
you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. At the end of the season, regular season, I'll make my Super Bowl picks, but I'm not gonna make them now. And I don't think anybody anybody that listens to this podcast or any other podcast should ever do, because the value of the teams that you get for the Super Bowl, especially with the expanded playoff, you will pretty much get the same value at the end of the season than you do in the beginning of the season for the most part. Yeah. I think you're taking a risk taking anything now because of injuries and everything like that. At least when you can get to January, that's, I think, where you make your futures. we have the Thursday night game. We have the Rams. We have the Bills. Who do you think is going to come out on top on the Thursday night NFL football game?
I'm going to preface it like this. There is 10 home dogs. 10 home dogs this weekend. I don't know if the lines have shifted a bit.
Wolf.
But there is some disrespect looming. A lot of disrespect. I am going to be taking the Rams. +2. Book it now. I'm a first half guy by nature, but I don't even want to let this one loom. It's +2. I'm taking the home dog. Not even thinking about it.
What about money lines?
With a sprinkle on the money line, correct?
Yeah. I think you know what? That is a DadBods collab. And
Wow.
I'll post that too. I'm on the same thing.
Yeah.
I think the emotions of the Rams winning the Super Bowl, I think they're good. You know, everything, the pomp and circumstance and everything that happens during that point, you're getting so much value.
Yeah.
When you watch these Thursday games, I can't think of a time, and maybe my brain doesn't go back that far.
No, you're right. I know what you're saying.
When has not the reigning Super Bowl champion come out on Thursday night and not won the game? You know what I'm saying? And nothing leads me to believe that. I know they're playing the Buffalo Bills, and everybody and God and their uncle thinks the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. But what have the Bills done to improve, other than lose in a position that they shouldn't have lost in the AFC divisional? By the way, let's not forget. Everyone thinks they went to the AFC Championship. They did not. They lost to KC in dramatic fashion. If there's anybody they're pissed off at, is KC again. They're not pissed off at the Rams. There's no motivation there. They're going into a road game versus a team that may be missing Von Miller. Who cares? Bobby Wagner's going to be pumped. Aaron Donald's going to be pumped. Matt Stafford's going to be pumped. They're going to have one of the best secondary receivers in the NFL this year with Allen Robinson, and you're going to see it in that game. Everybody's healthy. I love the LA Rams, and I don't even need the spread. Give me money line.
No.
All right,
left, right, center. Left, right, center. Money line. Money line, left, right, center. I mean, I'm a first quarter, first half better, with the best of them. I get antsy, all right? I want to win each quarter and each half, but the play is to take the Rams, take that key, throw it out, because we just gave you that lock of Thursday Night Football.
It's the gun locker.
It's the gun locker.
Collab of the day. I'm going to post that on my Twitter. I'm going to clip this, by the way, and put that on there. That is the DadBods. And by the way, DadBods VIP, just go to the link in my bio.
Yeah.
You can get in for free. Absolutely. Wide open. You think we only do NFL? No. You think Lock Bets only does NFL and golf? He does baseball. He does college football. I do college football. I do NFL. I do MLB F5s. So much betting, folks, and the door is wide open. Come on in. Join us. Just tip us at the end of the month, and you can stay in as long as you want. That's going to do it for DadBods Podcast, episode number 94. Till next time, we'll see you for episode 95 with more fun, bullshit, and banter. Peace.